All right, what is going on, everyone? So there are a few tier lists for Omniheroes from different people and different times, and I'm sure that at some point you must have come across them or searched for them at least. And from what I have seen, they also get more views and attention than other types of videos. In fact, when you write Omniheroes in YouTube, the first recommendation is a tier list. You might be surprised that why I do not have a tier list video on my channel. Well, it's because I cannot agree with everything in a tier list. For a game like Omniheroes, it is very difficult to come up with a tier list that is minimally biased, mainly due to RNG, but also due to different game modes where a useless character can become so consequential. Additionally, Omniheroes is more about the overall lineup that you use than any individual character, which tier list fails to depict. So at some point, some heroes in a tier list is always biased. Or if it is not biased, then the tier list will expire very quickly. Now, despite all that, I'm going to try and make one of my own tier list based completely on a set of general rules. I'll put the rules on the screen when the time comes up, but I will try my best to be as accurate as I can. If you're going to watch this video in future, like after 6 or more months of uploading date, then please find a more recent and up-to-date tier list. Also, keep in mind that upgrading the right characters is crucial, but it should not stop you from trying out different heroes. You will still be rewarded for upgrading the trash heroes, but you should prioritize the heroes that will help you the most, and that is what this tier list is intended for. So, if you want to know more about what each rule encases, then I have put them in the description where you can read them in your own time. I also suggest that you take my rankings with a marginalized error of +1 or -1. Okay, so if I put it a 3 in a 4, so it means that it is more like between 3 to 5. And also this tier list is not on a you know an a S to D or S to F like type of tier. It's going to be on a spectrum which doesn't have any decimals, which it should have, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. So we have here one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the 7 being the highest, obviously, and 1 being the lowest. So they will get the points based on which rules the characters meet, and the more the points they have, the higher their tier. So this is going to be only about the Mystifier ones because obviously there are a lot of characters in the game which I can't do in one video. Mystifiers in total have 10 heroes, and if I want to make a tier list which makes sense to everyone, I better also explain why I put them in one of them. So it takes me a lot of time to just do these 10 heroes. So therefore, every synergy I'm going to put another video for it. So Mystifier, then going to be Valianter, and so on. Now the first hero is going to be Talos. I do not have a screen for Omniheroes right now on that you can see, but I'm going to use my phone, which I have in front of me. I'll put the relevant screens whenever required, but you get the idea. So Talos is a hero that does not have a very good active skills. Okay, it deals some damage, not too much. It gives uh, shield to all allies equal to 40% of Talos max HP, which is not that significant. And his second active is he does some damage and also applies a stun on the target for 2 rounds. So stun is good. Obviously, 2 rounds it is not bad. So for active skill, but I won't say it is something that I would give him a 1 for active skill. It is definitely a 0. For passive abilities, Talos just increases the core damage dealt by allies by 50%, and that's it. Okay, he has those other secondary passive abilities where it says every 1% increase in Talos's cure rate additionally increase his attack, but that is something that every hero has. It is not so it all just cancels out with each other. Every hero has that thing, and that's it. So Talos only unfortunately has only one passive, which is that he increase core damage by 50%, and that's about it. So it's not too significant or substantial. So Talos, I would also give the passive ability a 0. Now synergy for Talos is actually pretty good. So he is a Mystifier, which used to be very bad, but since season two, we got Astrid addition in Astrid being added to Mystifiers. Astrid is a hero that revived Mystifiers. So now Mystifiers is one of the strongest synergy. So I would say Mystifier is not too bad now as it used to be. But on the other hand, we also have Talos, who is Royal, Celestial, and Monarch. So those three strategies, so those three synergies are very good. They allow you to make different types of comps. If you have been watching my videos from the beginning, you might have watched a video I made on Ariana where I used Talos to give Ariana more shield. So it basically just means that you can use the synergies to make different types of team compositions. Now, because synergy and team compositions make a lot of difference in this game, I'm giving synergy and team composition a maximum of 2 points instead of 1 point. So Talos, because he has good synergies, he will get 2 points. Now, versatility is something about like Talos being used constantly in some game modes or in some teams. So where he is a necessity, you must use him, otherwise you cannot go ahead. So there is no such thing about Talos. So you do not need to use him anywhere except he is being used in PvP and in a Mystifier lineup. So in any other lineup, he is pretty much not used. So his versatility again 0. His progression and evolution basically gets 0 point. Progression evolution just means that what if you get his exclusive runes? So if you get his exclusive runes, it is not something that is too groundbreaking. So it just increases the total number when the enemy's total number of corrode stacks is higher than 20, increases Talos' ultimate shield effect by 20%. Okay, so it's not something that is just that will break the game. So that's why he gets a 0 for this as well. Now the final thing is community consensus. So obviously I don't want to make any bias tier list, so I will also use the ranking or tier list from other people that they have made. Now there are a couple of them. Some of them are outdated, so I'm not using them. There is on YouTube. There is from Chrono Mirage. You have this Royal Tier List Part 2 and Part 1. If you haven't watched them, watch them. They are pretty good. I understand them. Um, but I'm also like more than 6 months into the game, so I understand why he puts certain characters in certain tiers. And if you are a new player, you would probably be confused about that, and you would go for someone of a higher tier. That is actually not true. So that's why I'm also not using him as a community consensus. I'm rather using this one. This is, in my opinion, this is still the best tier list that have ever been made for this game. It is a bit outdated. The last update it got was in December, so a lot of pro players have contributed to make this one. Um, in this one, if you look, Talos is so basically in community consensus, I give a hero 1 point if it is above average. So in this, when I check, Talos is definitely above 5. So if we go to the overall rating, it grows from 0 to 10. Talos is about like five-ish something. So it's definitely above average. So I would give him a 1. And overall, he would have a 3 score. So Talos would be a 3. So not too bad, not too, OP or the worst hero is just in 3. The next hero is Katherine. Katherine is a fantastic hero. Is a fantastic hero. So Katherine has very powerful active abilities. She will does a lot of magic damage and also apply 5 stacks of Korot. 5 stacks Korot in normally 5 stacks is the limit, but if you use certain heroes, you can increase the limit. So 5 stacks Korot is definitely a lot of Korot stacks debuff. And on the second, she also applies 3 stacks of Korot and does quite a bit of damage. So her actives get 1 because she deals a lot of damage and also gives the Korot damage, but debuff. On the passive side, Katherine has 50% or 100% depending on how much is the star level that you have on her. So Katherine have a 100% chance to apply Vital Drain on enemies for 1 round. Now Vital Drain is very good for her because if she applies Vital Drain on enemy hero, then that enemy hero, whenever she or he receives a healing, that healing goes to Katherine. And when we go through the runes of Katherine, exclusive runes, you will realize that how good this passive is actually. Okay, so that is, and also when Katherine receives healing, she will also heal all allies for 50% HP. 4% of the excess healing will be converted into attack. So yeah, she heals all the allies, and also you get conversion of healing into attack, which is again very good. So for her passive, also she gets a 1. For synergy and team comp, she has fantastic synergies. She's a Mystifier, a Royal, a Celestial, and a Striker. So all of them are very good. Versatility, uh, Katherine is getting a 1 because Katherine is constantly used in many different modes because of her exclusive runes, because of her abilities, and because of her synergy. So she gets a 1 for a 2 actually for synergy and team compositions. Oh, two, yeah, actually two for synergy and team composition, and for versatility, she gets a 1. For progression evolution, as I already give you an idea, that her runes are one of the best exclusive runes in the game. So she just converts the healing into attack, which goes up to 30% if you have the orange one, or if you have the legendary one, you can go up to 60% of her attack. And this attack is not only applied to Katherine, it applies to all the allies. Okay, all 5 allies in the game. So that is very good. Now, community consensus, if we go, Katherine is ranked very high. So if you see here, Katherine 8.82, I think she is probably around like 9-ish. I won't say like, yeah, something like that. So I would give her a solid 7 because she meets all the criteria and gets a 1 or 2 points for every one of them. So a very high tier hero. Next is Astrid. Now Astrid, I don't think I even need to explain a lot about her. She is a 7 hero. Okay, I'm just gonna put her here, but just let's just talk about her active abilities. If Nyx would have had a twin sister, Astrid would be her twin sister because of how much damage she deals with her active skills. Okay, she can literally one shot anyone with those with her skills, and also her skill damage is increased by 30% for each stack of Korot. So that's a lot. And also on the top of all that, she applies Korot stacks onto the enemies. So a lot of good things in her abilities. On passive side, we have a unique effect that only Astrid has in the entire game, which is when Astrid is deployed, every round the number 2 ally casting their ultimate skill will cast it 1 additional time. So it's something no one else has in the game. It's only Astrid, so makes her very unique. When Astrid is deployed, for every 5 applications of Corrode, stun will be applied to an additional random target for 1 round. So it's not too bad. This one applies stun, and some if it applies on if the target that it applies to is random, so that might be a little bit of on the best side, but it's still good enough. It's still good than having nothing. Like Talos had nothing on his second passive, so she gets a 1 for that as well. On the synergy and team composition, she is again fantastic. She is deviant, she is monarch, she is royal, she is mystifier. So she gets a 2 point. You can make a lot of different teams with her. Versatility, she's constantly used in many different modes. Actually, when she came out, she actually replaced so many heroes in Celestial Trials, in Grace Room, in many game modes. Okay, even in PvP, she is now the most popular hero. So she gets a 1 for versatility. For progression evolution, she has one of the best rune exclusive rune stats. So she will just convert for every 1 speed gives a hero or all the allies. For every 1 speed, they get 0.5% or 1.5% attack, depending on which runes do you have. So it is a lot. It is quite good. It is quite good. So she gets a 1 for this. On the community consensus, unfortunately, Astrid is one of the newest hero, so it has not been added into this. But I am 100% sure that if they would make an update, they would put her above 9. above 900%. I would say more like an Atropos, more than 9.5. Okay, so very, very, very consequential hero. Very nice, very good. You must have her. Next is Dulhan, or Dulhan, however you pronounce it. Dulhan is unfortunately one of the worst heroes in the game, but that does not mean that he deserves to be in the lowest tier of one. He is not, because he will be used in PvP quite often. So we have to keep that in mind. But if we go through Dulhan's active and active abilities, he does some damage. It's not something that will deal a lot of damage, but he also applies taunt to 3 units, up to 3 units for 2 rounds. Also, the increase the taunt chances by 1% for every stack of debuff the target has. So it applies taunt for 2 rounds, and we have uh, for the second active, we have receives a shield equal to 50% of his max HP by 2 rounds. For HP for 2 rounds. So it's not something that is too OP. I would say is more on the opposite side. It's not even average. So for active skill, I would give him a 0. For passive abilities, again, he doesn't have a second passive like Talos. He only has one passive, which is when Delahan is deployed, the limit of Korot stacks increases by 5, which is very, very, which is nice. If you use in the correct lineup, having more Korot stacks on the enemy target is definitely more beneficial. But only one passive, and there's nothing else to it. So I don't think it makes to the point where I should give him a 1 for the passive abilities. So again, he gets a 0 for that one. For synergy and team composition, he has quite good synergies. So he is a monarch, he is a deviant, royal, and mystifier, and for that reason, he might be used in. He could be used. It doesn't mean he is used. It could be used in different team comps and lineups. So yeah, for that he gets 2 points, and for versatility, I won't say he's used in any of the game modes consistently. After Astrid and Mystifier, honestly, becomes more popular in PvP. He is being used in PvP consistently, and that's about it. He is not used very often in many lineups. In Celestial Trials, he might be used just because of the Deviant and the Monarch synergy, but yeah, so I won't give. It doesn't make to the point where I should give him a 1 for versatility. So he gets a 0 for progression and evolution. He doesn't have a lot of good exclusive rune states. Okay. So each time Delahan receives active healing, when the enemy team's total number of core stacks is higher than 20, all allies restore HP. So he's going to just restore HP when you meet a certain threshold of core stacks. So it's healing in itself is a very bad thing. Is not really that great in the entire game. So if you put a limit or a threshold for it to be active, then it's going to make it even worse. So for progression evolution, I would give him a 0. On the community consensus, I think he gets like about 5 point some ish. So it's a little bit higher above 5 in decimals, so 5.4 or 3 or maybe 5, something like that. So I would give him a 1 for that thing. And I'm pretty sure he is having that score only because of his synergies. There is nothing special about his abilities. So we would put him in a 3, again, like Talos. Next up is Minotaur. Minotaur's active skills is not really that great. The only thing that great about him is that it can double the number of corrode stacks on the targets. But if you're not using some of the heroes that increase the corrode limits, then this thing is almost useless. Okay, so it's good to have this, but it's not something is too that makes up for all the bad things that Minotaur has. So he will get a 0 for the active skill. For the passive skill, Minotaur increases the damage reduction by 30%. Now it's not sure here in the description of his skill that whether this damage reduction is for the whole team or himself, but I would assume he is for the whole team. So damage reduction is not a bad thing, but as again, once again, like Talos and Dhan, he only has one passive, which is not too great or too OP that to give him a one for it. So again, for passive abilities, a zero. For synergy and team comp, he doesn't have such type of like synergy where or abilities where you can use him in different. So he is a Mystifier and then he's a Verdian. If you make a five Verdian team, I'm pretty sure you would use better heroes than Minotaur. Minotaur is not going to be used. And also you have a Phantom. Pretty sure if you make a Phantom hero, Phantom lineup, Minotaur would probably be your last option. So I wouldn't say his synergy and team comp is too good. He wouldn't make it to the 2 points or even 1 point. So I would give him a zero. For versatility, I would give him a one, just because Minotaur is consistently used in some Celestial Trial lineups where there is another Minotaur on the enemy team which applies defense boost of 100%, I think. So if you use Minotaur, Minotaur has in his rune he has something called defense counter. There are some other heroes who also has this ability, but Minotaur is usually what is prioritized. So he just removes that increased defense from the enemy in Celestial Trial. So he is consistently used only for that thing. So I would give him for versatility. I would at least give him a one. On reality, is it? I think it's not enough to give him a 1 point for versatility, but I'm just being probably a little bit too generous. For progression and evolution, his runes are not that great. He just applies stun on one random enemy for 1 round, or one random enemy for 3 rounds if you have the legendary ones. On the awaken, if you have him awaken, then you would only have his damage increased in his skills. So overall, he will come up with a 2 point because community consensus he also receives less than 5, which is the average. So I would put Minotaur in the 2 tier. Next is Ose. Ose is the next legendary non D&D hero. His active, I would give him a 1 for the active because he applies 5 stacks of cord like Katherine, but also does this single target damage. Single target damage in Mystifier is very, very rare. There is no hero in Mystifier that can do single target except Astrid and Ose. So if you are someone who doesn't have Astrid, then Ose will be a very solid choice. So for that reason, I would give him a 1. All the other heroes in Mystifier have an AoE type damage. So single target damage is very good in situations where you need to kill a boss. Okay, so he does single target damage. That would be a lot of damage, and also applies current stakes, which is very good. So also I'll give active abilities a 1 for that. And in fact, it was being in the past. I have made probably like a Gresham video where I have suggested to use Ose for a Mystifier boss because he is actually not bad hero in that scenario. Um, for his passive, when Ose is deployed, for every stack of coral the allied team applies on the enemies, there is a 30% chance to additionally apply one stack of decreased defense. So not something that so great. It just decreases the enemy's defense, um, which doesn't matter probably. So passive abilities, I will give a zero. Synergy and teamcom, again, he is not really that great. He's a Verdian, he's a enchanter, and a mystifier. So a zero for that as well. Probably won't be used in any of those lineups. Versatility, again, I would give him a zero. I have mentioned that he was used in Gresham, but now at this point in the game, he has been pushed aside because there are so many other heroes that are much better in Gresham than him. So he's not used for them, and he's not used in Celestial Trials or anywhere else, to be honest. So his versatility gets a zero. Progression and evolution gets a zero as well because he has 50% or a chance to apply amnesia on one random target, or two random targets. So it is, amnesia is not bad, but if having 50% chance is just not good. It's 50% chance, 1 in 2 chance, but not too bad, but also not too good. 100% chance is much better. Amnesia is definitely one of the rare effects in the game, so it's not bad, but I would not say like someone would go out of the way to get Osa's rune just for that 50% chance of amnesia. So progression evolution, I would give him a 0. For community consensus, he gets, I think, like about 2 or something, 2 or 3, I think. So definitely less than average. So he gets a 0, which makes him an overall of 1. Overall of 1. If there would have been a 0, probably he would be in 0, or probably many people won't agree with me that he has the best, one of the best, or one of the good active abilities. But it's just as I said, like, take it with a marginalized error of plus or minus 1. So he's either a 0, 1, or 2, not any more out of that range. Next is Sandra. Sandra is not a bad hero. I think she was added in season 1. Yeah, I think she was added in season 1. Her actives deal AoE damage, but that's not why we give him a 1 for active abilities. We give him active 1 for activity because his active abilities uh, just summons a horse, a seahorse on the map, which when takes its turn increases the max HP of all allies by 10%, and it stacks for 10 times. So overall, you can increase all allies' HP by 100%. So it's something very good and not too groundbreaking, I would say, because those seahorse can just die in one blow. But yeah, it's something definitely better than like Minotaur or Ose. So it's not too bad. So I'll give him a 1 for active. For passives, he has like she has, after dealing damage, Sandra has 100% chance to apply 2 stacks of coral to the target for 3 rounds. Okay, this is something usually inside the active abilities, but why? I think this means that she can also apply these coral stacks with her basic attacks, so not too bad. When Sandra is deployed, each stack of corrode applied by our allies will decrease the target's max HP by 4%. So it is again very good if you have like this some heroes which increases the corrode damage, a corrode stake limit. You can go by a lot. You can decrease the enemy's HP by a lot. So for passive abilities, I will give her a 1 as well. For synergy and team comp, she is a mystifier. This one, Shadow Arc and Monarch. So Monarch is a very strong synergy in the game, so she can definitely be used in different sort of lineups. And also her abilities make her to be used in many different lineups as well because of the increase in max HP with her abilities. So I would say I would give her a 2 for the synergy and team comps. For the versatility, I would give her a 0 because she's not used in a lot of places. Her best use is in PvP, but even then, people sometimes do not use her. Sometimes people prefer Emily, or sometimes people prefer someone else. Okay, so it's not very consistent in any other game modes. Not used in Restroom, Celestial Trials, Forgotten, Lens, or Arena, or anywhere. So like in PvP, you would see her, but not anywhere else. So versatility a 0, progression and evolution again not too great. When an ally takes critical damage, Sandra has 33% chance to reduce the damage taken by allies by 10% for 2 rounds, or 100% chance to reduce the damage taken by 10% for 2 rounds. So it's not something that is just will change the game entirely. So a 0 I would give. Community consensus again, she is one of the newest heroes, so she's not added into the tier list. I would assume they would put her in above 5, but just to minimize the bias, I would not go and give her a 1 for that. I would give her a 0 for that for now. In future, if they add it, I might put a 1 in her and she will become a 5. But for now, I will put her in a 4. Okay. The next hero is Emily. Emily is definitely a good hero. You will see her quite in a few matches whenever you would see Mystifier lineup. So Emily's active skills are good. They're not bad. They deal quite a bit of damage, to be honest, and also applies corrode stacks. If the target has 5 stacks corrode, heals all allies 5% for of their HP. So not too bad. She does damage. She applies corrode and does a lot of damage. And also because she has a 115 speed. Probably I should have mentioned it for all the heroes. But all that we have done, pretty much all of these heroes have speed more than 100, which is not too bad. Which is, I would say, like having 100 or 105 should be the minimum if you go into the late game, because majority of the people would use heroes that have more than 100 speed at least. So her active abilities, I would give her a 1 because she does a lot of damage and also applies corrode stakes. Passive abilities, when Emily is deployed, the limit of corrode stakes increase by 5, so another 5 you would get. And she only has one passive, just like many other heroes in Mystifiers. So I would give her a 0. As is the core stake limit increase is not too bad, but it's not something that would justify giving her a 1 for passive abilities. So a 0. Synergy in Team Con, she is an enchanter. I would assume she might be in an enchanter team, but I just don't think she deserves a 2 for synergy in Teamcom. She's also a Shadow Arc and a Mystifier. I don't think, yeah, I would give her a 0 for this. She probably don't deserve to get a 2 for that. Uh, Probably she's more used in a Mystifier than any other team at all. I have never seen her in any other team. For versatility, I would give her a 1 just because she can be used in a correct lineup in Grace Room, where she does quite a good job, So I would give her a 1, and also she is good in PvP if you use in a correct Mystifier lineup. So not too bad. I would give her a 1. Progression and evolution overall, her runes is one of the best among the non D&D legendary in Mystifiers. So it increases the corrode effect damage by 50% or by overall 100% if you have the legendary one. And at the start of the battle, Emily applies 5 stack corrode on all enemies. And or each time before Emily attacks, if there is an enemy with fortitude effect, all allies restore 10% of their max HP. So it is very good. She has quite a bit of things going on in the Rune exclusive. Not too bad. So I will give her a 1. Community consensus, she definitely makes it above the average. So gets a 1 for that as well. For that, Emily becomes a 4. So put her here. France is the next one. France is a good hero. His active abilities deal quite a substantial amount of damage, to be honest, and has a 100% chance to apply 3 states of corrode. But that damage is not something I would just give him a 1 for all. I'm probably being biased. I should give him a 1 because the damage he does is quite a lot. But we need to keep in mind that his speed is very low. His speed is the lowest in the Mystifier. He is a 97. So it is very hard for him to survive up to his turn. So I would give him for active abilities, I would give him a 0. For passive abilities, he has quite good. So increase the core damage dealt by allies by 100%. Only have one passive. So core damage is quite weak, but if you have something like Franz or Emily with the exclusive, it can increase his damage. So you can, I would say, like I would give him a 1 just to be fair. Synergy in Teamcom, he is not used in a lot of teams with those synergies. He's a Shadow Arc, a Phantom, and Mystifiers. He's not even used in Mystifier anymore. He is just a very useless hero becoming. So I'll give him a 0. Versatility, again a 0. He's not used. He was used in early game, maybe used in PvP and some contents, but overall I would give him a 0 for versatility. Progression and evolution, I would give him a 1 for his runes. increases the damage dealt by France against targets with more than 10 stacks of coral by 100%, so or by 200% if you have the legendary, and also has 100% chance to apply stun on one random enemy. So not something that is too useless. It's good enough. So I'll give him a 1. Community consensus. I know that it's a bit, the community consensus is a bit old, but he makes it above 5 of average mark. So I would give him a 1, which makes him a 3. That's for that reason I would say like take all of these rankings as plus or minus 1, because France is definitely not used as much as Talos. So it's also not someone who deserves to be in 4. I would realistically, if I don't explain anything or if we don't have these rules, I would probably put him in 2, just because of how he's not used. But just to be consistent with the rules, we put him in 3. Next one is Basted. Unfortunately, Basted is one of the worst heroes because she does some damage, attack to all enemies, dealing up to damage and cord stacks, applies cord stacks. But that's all about her active. So it's not enough to give her. I mean, it's not a lot, but I if I would be very harsh on Bastet, I would probably put her in like very very low, like 1 or 0. But which is not what I want. She's definitely more useful than like Osei, maybe more than Minotaur. But I would just put her, maybe try to give her some mark which puts her in 1 or 2. So for active abilities, I will give her 1. She does AoE damage, which is a lot, but not something that I would give usually a 1. Passive abilities, she will, if you have enough corrode stakes, she will apply ignore shield on herself and the ally that has the highest tech. And when Bested is deployed, there is 25% chance to double the core stakes applied on the enemy. So um, both of her passives are something that is based on that has a threshold or a chance based. So the second passive has 25% chance. The first one is you must have a 30 stakes of corrode to have that ignore shield effect, which is not too bad, but it puts a condition on to be made for that to be useful. So for that I will give her a 0 for passive abilities. Synergy and team comms, she's a protector, which is obviously one of the worst synergies, as Shadow Orc and a Mystifier, so she gets a 0 automatically. For versatility, she is unfortunately not used in any team, anywhere. I have not used her like in months, okay, 3 or 4 months. She's used a little bit in the early game because that's all people have to work with, but that doesn't make it justifiable to give her a 1 for versatility. Progression and evolution, she's a curse removal, and each time Best takes action, she will purify all debuffs from one random ally, two random ally. So something good, but not something, it doesn't make up for all the bad things that she have. So I would give her a 0. Community consensus puts her above the average, so I think they put her around between 5 to 6, if I remember correctly. But it's something above 5, so I would give her a 1 for that, and that makes her a 2. She is, like, I would say she and France both are the same. France has some good passive abilities, but France has very low speed. Now, Bastet doesn't have a good abilities, but she has a good speed, 115. So ideally, I would like to make something like this, or if we go consistent with the rules, we will make something like this. Um, yeah, you will see that Mystifiers overall, most of them would below 5. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's why this was one of the worst synergies to play in the game. Since Astrid has joined the game, this Mystifiers team has changed a little bit. So now in PvP, heroes like Talos and Dhan, where we put them in 3, they are definitely more useful in some team lineups. And that's one reason that I mentioned that I do not like the tier list, because they put them in a constrained band or somewhere in a ranking where people think that it's not good. It's definitely good. Talos, you will see his potential, or Dhan, you will see his potential if you use them in a correct lineup. But tier lists don't show them, unfortunately. I have mentioned them if you have like if you have not missed. But yeah, something like this, I would say like probably majority of the community would agree with me. Why something like this agree? Again, I would mention, do not take them like strictly in one band. Take it with a marginalized error of +1 or -1. So for someone like Sandra, think about it like between 3 to 5. Okay, not a 4 strictly at 4. So yeah, that's all for this one. In the next one, I will rank the Valianter heroes, which is I think one of the synergies that every early every new beginner starts with. So stay tuned for that. See you guys in the next one.